Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? And welcome to another live here that we're doing here on Facebook on The Doctor Is In and podcast. We love having you guys come on and we love saying hello. Why don't you do that? If you're new, let us know. Okay, I see some new names every day. Maybe you've been on for a while, you just haven't said hello. I don't know, but we love having you. Believe you me. Janice and Lisa and Lucille and Nativity right at the top saying hello, good morning. And Paula Joe and Judy. And Kevin, there he is. You're still in Shediac, New Brunswick. Kevin's doing some visiting. How are you, Kev? Paula Joe's waving at me. Nellie, Rosalinda in Niagara Falls. Good morning. Sandy, Chilliwack, British Columbia. Maria is in Portugal. Maria, how are you? Rosa's in Montreal. Maureen's in Boca Raton, Florida. Ooh, must be hot. Frida, Devlin. Barishan is in Montreal. There's Wendy from Markham. Denise is from Oakville, Ontario. Brahim, I've been waiting on you, my friend. Christine in Fort Worth, Texas. Oh, it must be hot. Diane, Cheryl, Virginia, West Virginia, as a matter of fact. Hi, Karen. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Elaine in St. John's, Newfoundland. Patricia's in Florida, too. We're getting Florida-like weather here. Very hot. Danny Lay, Iron Bridge. Dan, how are you, my friend? Sandy in Vancouver, Washington. 91, Brahim Hussein in Portland, Oregon today. Fran, how are you, Fran? In Orangeville, Maryland. Patricia. Yolande, how are you, my dear friend? Andrea in the clouds. Bonnie, Gwen, a lot of people, they can't get out of the clouds for some reason. I have no idea. Derek is in Windsor. And Lufti from Libya. Get out. How are you? Marcy, Davina in New York. How do you like that, guys? From Libya this morning, Yvonne. Francis and Vaughn in Milica, Cecilia, good morning. Linda, we love Linda's from New Brunswick. Wendy from Aylmer. Mary saying hi to Dave and Helga. Or is it Dave and Helga saying hi to Mary? I don't know. Donna. Laurie. Okay. Donna. I'm telling you, I had 3 Donnas in a row. Cheryl, Rhoda, Labrador, Sharon in Kansas and having her 3rd cup of coffee. You're catching up to me. IT and Lufty. Hey, we say hi to everyone in Syria there, Donna. Yvonne. Herma. And Yvonne's in Petawawa. And Judy, Port Perry. Thanks. Hey, Chaz. How are you, my friend, in Maryland? And Cheryl, and 2 Cheryls in a row. I'm not kidding you. One from Lighthouse Cove, Irene. Luella. Our dear friend from West Tennessee. Bonnie in Annandale, Minnesota. Sylvia in Mississippi. Guys, we're all over the place. Shireen, Marcy, Gail, Elaine. Okay, let's get going, guys. Lufty's saying hi to everyone from Libya. It just amazes me, that we have folks from all over the world. No, for sure. From Portugal and Libya this morning. And I know we get others from Australia because they've contacted me. And, hey guys, when I had my radio show in my radio days, I was syndicated. But guess what? if you weren't in the areas where the radio stations were, good luck. You weren't getting my show. And my son convinced me, Dad, we're going to start doing podcasts, okay? I didn't even know what a podcast was. We're going to start doing podcasts? Yeah. And that's, the rest is history. Thank you for making The Doctor Is In podcast as successful as it is. We thank you, our viewers, our listeners, because without you, nope. Okay? And we thank you for that. And we appreciate it big time. Okay, now, new study. It always seems to, I've been looking at, because I get asked all the time about testing, okay? And some things, you never know what to look for, right? And when I wrote the book, my son and I wrote the book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, okay? Still available in Canada. We're going to make it available in the U.S. too. Now, let me share something. In there, we talk about blood test, okay? In a lot of ways, one of the statements I used to make is, I don't guess, I test. And another statement I made about labs is that they hijacked medicine. Here's what I mean by that, is that a couple of things. One, doctors usually look for the wrong tests. Okay? The tests are available, but they don't do them, or they misinterpret them. Okay? For example, cholesterol testing. Okay? And if you followed me for any length of time, and some of you on here, even this morning, I know for a fact, you've been with me in my radio days, and we're going back now 30 years. Okay? I'm an old goat. I've been around a long time. But what I said even 30 years ago on my radio show is, medicine has been hijacked by laboratory testing. Hijacked. And what do I mean by that is that, unfortunately, most doctors, not all, most doctors, they don't test for the things that they should. And even when they get, for example, in cholesterol and the lipid profile comes to them, okay? And I always ask my patients, or at least I used to ask my patients, and I'm asking you folks, okay, or telling you, get your own blood work. Once you get results, get that blood work. And I wrote in the book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, how to interpret, go for the right testing. And when you get those results, doctors looking at one thing, I'm showing you how to interpret those tests properly. Okay? For example, when you look at the lipid profile, your doctor, first thing they're looking at, your total cholesterol. Do I want you to look at that? Nope. It don't mean nothing. LDL cholesterol. Why? Because they got a drug for it. Do I want you to look at your LDL? Well, maybe a little bit. And the reason I want you to look at it, because if it's low, you're going to die young. I'm going to give people high fives. I got low LDL cholesterol. That's not smart. Why do you want low LDL? Well, my doctor wants low LDL. I know, but your doctor. Get them to read. Study. You have low LDL? This is a fact. You're going to die younger. And one of the reasons is LDL cholesterol, okay? Low density lipoprotein cholesterol, okay? It's a big part of your immune system. You need cholesterol. I know, I say it every day. Rinse and repeat on this program all the time, but I can't help it, guys. I gotta tell you, cause even today, it's still the #1 selling medication of all time. It is sold more than aspirin. Is drugs to lower LDL cholesterol. Hasn't saved one person. So when you look at your lipid profile, get your triglycerides. They're there. A lot of people, they don't even look at triglycerides. They have no idea. TG, what's that? They have no idea. Well, you guys do, because we teach it all the time. Triglycerides are fat balls. Try it. 3. Glycerides, fat. Fat balls. Not chicken balls going through your bloodstream. Well, they're like chicken balls. Every time I think of chicken balls, okay, I went to China to give some seminars. I was invited. Okay, this is a long time ago. 2004? When did I go to China now? 2004, whatever. I said, you got any chicken balls? I want chicken fried rice and chicken balls. Like, they gave me eyeballs. A fish with eyeballs. I said, no, chicken ball, chicken fried rice and chicken balls. I won't. That's the only Chinese food I knew. Okay, anyway, okay? But triglycerides, they're fat balls. And the only way you get triglycerides that are elevated in your blood, the only way is cause you're a carboholic. You're a sugarholic. You can measure it. If your triglycerides are high, that's dangerous. Not HDL. Excuse me, not LDL. And I teach you guys this all the time, okay? Get your triglycerides down, teeter-totter, get it down, and get your HDL cholesterol, high-density lipoprotein, get it up. It's diet. It's diet. And by the way, if you want to elevate that HDL cholesterol, which will save you from a heart attack, you want to elevate your HDL and lower your triglycerides, one of the best supplements you can take for that, okay, is high DHA. 1, vitamin E, exercise. especially muscle. Because, guys, remember this. Where do the triglycerides come out of? Okay? I'm waiting. Close your books. I'm giving you a test. Where do triglycerides come out of? Let me see, okay? You guys are talking to each other. I'm giving you a test. Let's see if I can get a couple of answers. Where do triglycerides come from? Oh, Debbie's saying she got a very good eye report because she's taking DHA. Good for you. John, I never believed the chicken fried. Tina, liver. Kathy, blood. Close. Judy, liver. Joan, yeah, it's coming from sugar, but what organ is it coming out of? I'm sorry, I might have not phrased it right. Karen, you got it right. It's the liver. Derek, the packed liver. You guys. Kathy. Karen, you got it. It's in the liver. Bonnie, liver. Patricia, sugar, yes, in the liver. That's turned to glycogen. Cecilia, okay? Andrea. Well, you guys are thinking food. I was thinking what organ, okay? So maybe I wasn't clear. Cheryl, Brahim, you got it. Rosalinda, you're thinking food. But me, guys, I didn't give it right because you're, okay, Dave, you got it right. It's liver. Okay, guys, let me get that. Gertie, you got it right. It's liver. Chaz, liver, yeah. Okay. Carbs. Okay. Crappy carbs. Get broken down quickly. They get in when you don't have enough muscle space. Insulin's got to take that because remember, it's turned to sugar and it's the speed at which it gets turned to sugar. So you eat a piece of bread, it's just sugar molecules holding hands. Insulin has to come to the rescue. Sugar, you can't park here. Out of the blood. Out, 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 out. Sends it. First place it would love to send it is to your muscles. But muscles have limited storing space. So the more muscle you have, the better it is for you. Okay? That's why I always tell people, get stronger. And when your muscles have no more room for glycogen, for sugar stored, goes to the liver. Goes to the liver. And when your liver is full, no more parking spots, one of the things your body does, your liver sends that glycogen into the bloodstream as triglycerides. Fat balls. You can measure it. If your fat balls are elevated, you can assume a couple of things. One, you have fatty liver. You can assume it. People ask me that, Doc. How can you tell if I have fatty liver? Well, your triglycerides are high. Your HDL is low. You have fatty liver. I don't need an ultrasound. I don't even need to look at your liver enzymes because often that's the last thing you will see. That's your liver enzymes are the last things often that are moving up when you have fatty liver. Fatty liver is a silent thing. What did they estimate? 60% of the population or more have fatty liver? I think it's higher than that. Kids have fatty liver. And people, they don't know. Nobody told them. No doctors ever talked to them about fatty liver until it slaps a doctor in the face. They don't get trained in fatty liver. They get trained, like I got trained, in cirrhosis of the liver, scarring of the liver. But what happens before that? Fatty liver. And fatty liver, okay? Fatty liver is a dangerous condition because what happens in the liver, and I teach you guys this all the time, doesn't stay in the liver. Okay? Your liver is the Costco parking lot. When it's full, you're in trouble. In your heart. In the heart. Yeah. A direct line. Why? Fat balls. Not chicken balls, fat balls. Triglycerides. When they're elevated, and when your HDL is low. Look, I look at blood work. I looked at blood work for years and years and years and years. And the reason I write about this and talk about this a lot is because I want folks to be able to interpret things on your own. You know, we put at the end of all our emails, the best doctor is you. Okay? We live in a day and age with so much information. That can be good and bad. Okay? There's a lot of stuff that's on the internet and whatever, and it's nonsense. Okay? But there's a lot of good stuff there too. Okay? And like I said, doctors, okay? Doctors, they don't even know how to interpret most blood tests because they've been trained with blinders on. Okay? They've been trained with blinders on. They're focusing on total cholesterol, and now they've made up something else, guys. They get into the weeds, and they're looking at the particle size. Oh, I get a headache. The particle size of LDL cholesterol. Well, what's the particle size? Who cares? What does it mean? They just want to keep you on statin drugs. It's in their DNA. They can't help it. They can't help it. So, my raison d'être, that's French. Okay? It's what makes me tick is I want to, and I always said this, when I was in practice, it was individuals. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to get you involved in your own health care. Patients used to come and see me. I would explain to them what I was looking for, and I wanted them to look themselves. Learn how to interpret a blood test. Learn to ask for certain blood tests. Right? You guys know me on that. You know, you ought to know what your vitamin D levels are in your blood. You ought to know what your B12 levels are in your blood. You ought to know what your CRP levels are, your C-reactive protein levels are in your blood. You ought to know what your triglycerides are and your HDL cholesterol. You ought to know that. It's important. You ought to know what your A1C is. You ought to know it. What's my A1C? Doctor said, well, don't worry about it. You're not a diabetic. Oh, yeah, but I'm on the Titanic towards diabetes. Diabetes is the last thing to happen, not the first. I want to know if I'm on the Titanic or not. Am I in that 93% of the population that have metabolic syndrome? Because that's the root. More than anything else, it's the root of all disease. It's the root of all chronic disease. You got to know these things, guys. And this is why I go over them. I teach them, teach them, teach them. I used to do it to individuals. And one of the reasons I left practice, guys, besides the fact that I was old, I did it for 50 years. Just about. I think if COVID hadn't come, I would have hit 50 years. But guys, this stuff is important. You want to know what your fat balls are. If your fat balls are low and your HDL cholesterol is high, at least even with your triglycerides, I like it better up. Teeter-totter, remember. Man, they don't teach you that, do they? Because there's no drug. It's food. It's not drugs involved. It's food. It's food. That's how you change it. Why do you think I fixed? Why do you think I did I got the reset going? I started the reset originally in my office, 30 days, because of A1C. Okay? A1C. Before and after blood test. Diabetics. Let's move the needle. How are we going to do that? Not with insulin, with food. And I used to teach them. You guys could do it. You could teach. You could teach at the university level. How do you reverse diabetes? With meds? Nope. Meds are just a Band-Aid. Meds won't do it. Meds, and by the way, I don't care if it's metformin or if it's insulin or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying not to take it, okay? You're a diabetic and they have you on diabetic drugs. I'm going to tell you something, and I know this for a fact, and I've been saying it for 50 years. Yeah, 50. You know what? Even insulin has a shelf life. What do I mean by that? It's not the insulin itself. It's you. If you're a diabetic and you're taking meds, those meds have a shelf life, meaning that eventually disaster is coming to a theater near you. Yep. Because it's only a Band-Aid. A diabetic has an allergy to carbohydrates. They don't teach that in medical school. You have an allergy. And the reason I set up the reset was for those patients that their A1C, was above 5.4. And I said, well, you're on the Titanic. If it was up in the 6s, 6.5 and up, I said, well, you're a diabetic. Oh, my doctor didn't say I'm a diabetic. I said, you're a diabetic. Okay? Don't fool yourself. You know what the worst deception is? Self-deception. That's the worst. I don't know how many thousands of patients. They come into my office, they want to argue. I don't know. I'm under control. I said, no, you're not. I got your blood work. You're not in control. You're out of control. You're on the ship. You're on the Titanic. And there was some that had already hit the iceberg when they saw me for the first time. You already hit the iceberg. Okay, let's get you into a light boat now. But it's going to take you taking responsibility for your own health. You. It starts with you. You got to do it. Okay? You got to do it. So I'm all into education. 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 I want you guys, and this is why I had you close your books today and gave you a little test. I've done it 2 days in a row. You know, isn't that something? But you guys know the answers. You guys know it. That puts you, okay? Look at where my finger's pointing, out at you. That puts you in the top. Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda, listen. It puts you in the top 1% of the population. It puts you in the top 1%. You're not being duped. You understand? You don't even need a medical degree, but I'm going to give you an honorary PhD in nutrition. You deserve it. Okay. I want to spend more time going through these blood tests because there's some new studies. Like even on ferritin, people ask me, Doc, what do you mean by that? Why are you looking at that? Herma says her triglycerides are good. Can't seem to get her A1C below 5.7. Rome wasn't built in a day. Keep going. But I really like where your triglycerides are. What's your HDL? You ain't gonna have no heart attack anytime soon. Okay? Okay, guys. Friday is what? Q&A, right? Send your questions in. Always very popular, okay? I got studies I didn't get to, but I want to talk about blood work just because I got asked yesterday about it. And I said, I got to keep teaching. Anywho, okay, guys, that's who I am. And I know you guys, a lot of you guys know this. You've been following me for years, but I can't help but repeat it, okay? So repetition, guys, is the way I learn. I continue to learn. I continue to study, okay? Okay. We love you guys dearly and sincerely. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.